That means we're ready to go, Matthew.
We started. We have proper distancing, but we always did. I feel like this is how it was last time as well.
You know what? You're
Man, you were an early adopter to distancing. You were way ahead of the...
Stay away from me is the motto.
Yeah.
No Laugh Track Podcast. Also, stay away from me. No, this is episode 385 as I'm nestling in, getting comfortable, sitting back in my chair here. No Laugh Track Podcast. We are socially distanced here on the stage here at Acme Comedy Company Studios. Huh?
It is
Studios?
The podcast studio.
Uh-huh. How are you today, Matthew Broussard?
I'm okay. A little over-caffeinated. Happy to be in Minneapolis for the third time and my first time coming here in the summer. I've only come in the dead of winter because I don't sell enough tickets to do the summer usually. So,
No, you didn't. We'll cut that part out. You don't need to say that.
I just figure the motivation of you don't need to draw in the winter. In the Midwest, people go out. If it's cold, people go out. That's the cool part I've learned about cold places. Is they know if it's chilly, we do things, and if it's the summer, we go outside.
That's 100% accurate. I always thought that Acme was booked on appearance, and you look like somebody who might go skiing. No?
That's a good fit.
Downhill?
I do like skiing.
Snowboard?
Not a snowboard.
I mean, not Afton. Afton's a small hill in Minnesota. I mean, Aspen.
I'm a Breckenridge guy. I started skiing in my 30s. Picked it back up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've gone twice in the past 3 years. That's it for me.
there we go. So I was telling you that I listened back to when you were here last year in January, so a little bit over a year ago when there was snow and cold and all that stuff. You were, I'm going to get this out of the way, you had some surgery or something. You weren't swimming at the time. We've talked about swimming, where you and I are both swimmers in the past.
Right.
And you weren't doing any that type of exercise at the moment. How are you now physically?
Better. A lot better. My shoulder bounced back fully. It looks weird, but it's fully functional. I can do push-ups and lift some upper body weights.
Raise your hand when you have something to say.
Yeah, which my legs are still weird, but I can do most things. I've been city biking around New York. I've been afraid of the subway, so I've just got a city bike, and it's so weird because just getting around is all of my exercise and a lot more. Like, I need to take days off from going around New York.
Interesting.
It's so much work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to know, are you wearing a helmet when you're biking in the city?
No, I just bought one. It's coming in. I bought two, and neither of them fit, so I keep meaning to. So I'm buying. I have another one on the way. Mm-hmm. I know it's very important. It saved my father's life. It's very important.
For real?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he flew over his handles because his brake fell off. 14 miles an hour, broke his collarbone forever. And I saw his helmet, and he would have died looking at his helmet. So.
Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. Well, let's get some rush shipping on that thing. I want to keep you safe.
Yes. Are you a cyclist or?
No, not really. I have a bike, and I think I used it once this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm too busy. As I told you before we started recording, I have a baby at home.
Yeah.
That I know you can get the little trailer and pull it behind the bicycle. I had one of those.
Mm-hmm.
12 years ago when I had kids that were young then. Haven't invested in that again this time.
Yeah.
I like the walks with the stroller.
That sounds fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It is fun. So, but we're here to talk about you, not me walking with the stroller. I saw your show last night. Not here because there weren't any seats left.
Zoom, yeah. I sold out a minimum capacity.
Well, we're okay. It's because of COVID times here, so it's about 75 seats that if it's full, it's about 75 people in here.
Yeah, and it's very spaced out.
Yes,
wonderfully so. There were some shows that did lower capacity, but they just still shoved everyone in the first two tiers.
Yeah.
This is actually islands.
So I watched from Zoom, and I am digging that.
Oh, cool. How many people were on Zoom watching? Could you see?
There were like a few thousand. No, I don't know. There were a handful. I don't know, maybe 10 or something.
Oh, okay.
Last
That's
night.
a happy amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy they provide the option because plenty of people are very concerned about coming out, and that's they're responsible people like yourself, and they're doing the right thing.
It's health wise, I would not have a problem coming to the club here and watching. I think they're doing a good job, keeping everyone safe, but just to fit into my time, like my life right now, it makes sense for me to stay home and watch the Zoom shows. So they're great that they're available. Have you? So where are you? you're here this week, but where have you been doing shows?
I've been doing
all?
park shows in New York. That's really it. No, nothing indoors. New York is very cautious. They don't have any kind of indoor anything. No indoor dining. I mean, you can order inside a restaurant, but there's no. Everything's
what
outdoor.
So the phase that you're in right now in New York?
Phase 4 they basically dialed back the phases, meaning that like what we call phase 4 is more like a phase 3, and there's no phases after phase 4. So phase 4 was supposed to be like gyms and maybe some limited indoor seating, and then the last second, Cuomo was like, "Yeah, no, phase 4 is the exact same as phase 3, except botanical gardens and aquariums are open." Actually,
really?
Yeah. And they made a really, really weird rule this week at the alcohol board, not this week, yesterday, that comedy shows at bars are not allowed, even outdoor areas, only music. So my girlfriend produces a show.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I saw this.
Yeah,
She's doing shows in the park?
No, she's doing shows at the patio of a bar.
Okay.
Like an outdoor, very spaced out seating bar that it has to serve food as well. But yeah, it's this kind of like minimally seated outdoor thing. On the front patio, and that's not even allowed. But it would be if it was music is the weird part. And I don't see why that's any different. So
can you come up with any reason on why?
Power. No logical reason, but they just want to limit things. And no, a comedy show doesn't seem any more or less dangerous than a music show.
I wouldn't think so. So
there's a risk of dancing in a music show, which I think is, I sound like one of the people in Footloose. You know what I mean? These people dancing is dangerous. It leads to sin and jazz cigarettes.
Yeah. We're gonna keep the lights up. We don't want to risk dancing breaking out.
No showing ankles.
What I saw on, I think probably your Instagram, of you walking in front of a tree about to do some stand-up in a park.
Yeah, and Stand Up New York has been doing park shows, like 8 a day, and they're not like official. There's no microphone. People just happen to be at the place and show up. It's very communally done. There's no money changing hands, so it's just a chance for comics to perform. And
so some of those people are just sort of picnicking at the park.
Some may already be there, but there's been a good
hey.
turnout. Stand Up New York has a really good following, and a really good way of communicating with their mailing list and clients, so people show up. Sometimes it's just 10, sometimes it's like 60 people, and 60 people spread out in a park is a big area. So.
And you said no mics.
No mics.
How is that working for you?
The kids with musical theater degrees are really having their moment. The ones who clearly wanted to be Broadway actors and settled for stand-up, they are killing it.
They know how to project.
Yeah, I'm the kind of guy who's like, what do I do if I'm not holding a mic? And they're like, 2 hands means double the action. You know what I mean? Just breakdancing. Yeah.
You're not up there with both your hands in your pockets, are you?
No, I still don't know what to do with my hands. I see pictures of myself performing, and I'm just like, what am I doing? Am I praying?
What do you? I just the Metallica just announced. Do you see what they're doing?
No.
They're gonna play at the park there. No, they're doing a drive-in theater concert.
There's a lot of that with comedy. Oh.
However, they're not actually going to be there. It is previously recorded. They were actually on Howard Stern this week and mentioned, oh yeah, we recorded it yesterday in a studio. So they recorded a full concert in a studio Monday or Tuesday of this week.
Cool.
At the end of this month, it will be broadcast at drive-in theaters across the country.
Oh, that's really quick. I'm gonna go on Napster and download their concert.
So, and then let me give you some more details. I really want to know what you think about this. It's $115 to go into the drive-in theater to watch this. Again, they're not there. It's pre-recorded. $115, and you can have up to 6 people in the car with you. Apparently, Garth Brooks did something similar a month or so ago. He was the first to do this fake drive-in theater thing. Now, I remember when I was younger. I once went to like a movie, like a regular like AMC movie theater to watch like a Martin Lawrence concert show, like a stand-up concert. He's not there. I'm watching it. So I guess it's like that, but
It's like the Tupac hologram.
Oh, the Tupac hologram. I don't know. It's not.
No,
It'd be one thing if it's being simulcast.
Yeah.
But it's all edited and polished, and I don't know. What do you think about that? I'm clearly showing you how I feel about it.
Yeah. I just can't get over $115.
Does that seem like a lot?
No, there's something so beautiful about when a band that's young and rebellious and anti-establishment has a bunch of scrappy young fans, and then 30 years on, 40 years on, all those scrappy young fans have disposable income as engineers or sales managers.
Yeah.
And now Blink-182 tickets cost $150. It was a band for like angsty middle schoolers who go on to become successful adults, and the ticket prices change. And what was once this big rebellious thing is this yuppie suburban like stifled dad with posters in the basement. It's wonderful.
Yeah. How about along those lines, Rage Against the Machine was going to do a tour this summer, and the tickets sold out in an instant, and they were like 150. They started at 150.
Yeah.
Rage, like that was talk about an anti-establishment band.
Yeah, because all those kids turned in their Che Guevara T-shirts for a suit and tie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and have the money.
Uh-huh.
They are the machine.
Yeah, SUVs in the suburbs.
Oh, I mean, it's beautiful. It's the circle of life, and it moves us all. I love it so much.
Isn't that wild?
Green Day probably has a similar thing. Yeah.
I assume so. Yeah.
Yeah. But Metallica, they were so grungy and raw. They're a bunch of 19-year-old kids with cocaine and alcohol problems, and it was a sound that hadn't existed before.
Now they have.
And now my brother, who grew up on them, is an aeronautical engineer in Florida.
Exactly. Here's a perfect example, and I'm not even making fun of them. I'm just kind of pointing out
I'm
how
happy.
things change.
Yeah.
I heard in this interview on Stern the other day that they have their own wine. No, whiskey. They have their own whiskey, Metallica whiskey,
In the
and
Jarro.
half of the band sober.
That's hilarious.
Isn't that fantastic?
Dave Matthews has a wine, but that's suited.
Yeah.
Dave Matthews, that's always been, I guess that's not going to change. I always think about how annoying it is as a comedian, how the second I write a joke and tell it, it's like, it's done. I have to write a new one now. Like, there's that pressure to constantly be turning over, and it's so hard to put together material, but then they just expect you to have new stuff right away, at least at a certain level. Maybe not at my level, but like hour every year.
Sure.
Which is tough, but imagine being a 46-year-old frontman of an emo band having to channel that teenage angst every night into those same lyrics about a girl who said no to your prom invitation.
I know. Whose parents hate you.
Yeah. That would be, I think that's harder.
I can't even imagine.
To feel that every night. Yeah. So at least I get to at least my content grows with me. But boy, music. How often does a band have more than 2 good albums?
Not many, as far as I know. I mean, you asked that, and all my brain goes back to is like bands from the '60s.
Yeah, right. Beatles, Rolling Stones, but like your favorite bands. Do you like if they put out a new album? Would you be excited about it? Like,
I want to be.
You want to be?
Yeah, I want to be.
How many new albums from your favorite bands you've listened to for more than 10 years?
You
have
know
you been
what?
impressed by?
There is one. There's a new one right
Please.
now from a band. You mean the Jayhawks? You familiar with the Jayhawks?
I've heard of it, but I don't know their. Yeah.
It's Minnesota originally, and they have 15 albums.
And they stay good.
Not all. I do not love all of them, but the most recent one was just a couple weeks old. I've listened to it front to back 3 times now.
That's nice
and
to
like
hear.
it. Yeah. And it's like their 15th album, so yeah.
But with comedians, usually your favorite one by them is their most recent. I don't know if that's usually, but like, I tend to notice them being a little better with each special. Sometimes they'll take a dip,
Sure.
but then they come roaring back. Like
There's
Dave
also-
Chappelle's at his prime. Like,
Yeah, there's also a thing that if somebody that's interesting is if somebody does something that you don't like, people tend to like turn their backs on them real fast, like write somebody off. And I don't even mean canceled. I just mean like, nah, fuck, now they're doing this. Forget it. Done. Moving on.
my friend did that with Pete Davidson. So he made for the Staten Island.
Exact. Perfect
That's
example.
where you draw
You're right.
the line. What?
Your friend from Staten Island.
Yes, of course. Yeah, Matt.
Of course. So you just perfectly set me up to ask you about the picture I saw of you and your girlfriend and your cat with Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
I saw that on your Instagram, and how the hell did that happen?
So he has been doing shows probably about 5 nights a week at a pavilion outdoor show in Yellow Springs, Ohio, which is where he lives. Small, really cool town in Ohio. It was where 846 was filmed, which if you haven't watched, please watch. But he's doing nightly shows there, and since it's one of the few venues in the country where anyone could do comedy, he's been flying in Jon Stewart, Louis C.K., Chris Rock, Michael Che, Dave Letterman.
Yeah, Letterman.
Tiffany Haddish, Letterman. That was a big. When he got John, I was like, oh, you don't get to see John. Like, even Hang Out of the Cellar, you're probably never going to see Jon Stewart perform. Like, most people I'll see come through. Most of like the legends come through.
I've heard people see Chris Rock there. Yeah,
Chris Rock. I've definitely seen Chris. I've seen Chris Rock in L.A. or maybe you might even see Seinfeld. But like Letterman,
nuts.
That's such a different level.
Yeah.
So my girlfriend and I were like, we want to go. We had the idea of like, let's just go down there and watch a show. See if we can get tickets. And we ended up getting tickets. And we watched the show. And the next day we were on the way out of town. We thought, oh, that was it. I had maybe hoped there was a chance I'd get on stage, but knew it was a long shot. And then the next day I was leaving, I got a text from someone who was involved with the show, and it was like, "Hey, don't leave, come hang out, come meet Dave." And I go and we meet Dave and we talk for a while, and he was like, I guess through a vouch of someone behind the scenes, heard I might have what it takes to perform on the show, and I got to perform. So it was very lucky. It was very fortunate. Dave is everything he leads on to be. Like, he is that person off and on stage, which is really rare and really cool. And it was a trip. It was so fun. It was such a different experience. I don't think I'll ever get to be part of something like that again.
Oh, how many people is he bringing into these shows? Like,
it's like
people viewing it.
Outdoor. I think it's like 200 or 300.
And I suppose it's that every night.
5 nights, I think. I think he takes like Monday, Tuesday off or something like that. But
he's probably at capacity every night.
It sells out within minutes every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really, really famous. Like, I think I know famous. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I've rubbed elbows with some of the, and you're like, oh, that guy's like closer to Beyonce than he is anyone else I know.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. And you said you drove there? You just got in the car?
We drove, yeah. We rented the car.
How far?
9 hours.
9 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Damn, man.
My girlfriend likes driving. She was like, I was like, we can fly. She was like, nah. We did do the math. We would have had to connect. So it would have been 7 hours flying. You know what I mean? So it's driving. I mean, flying can suck with those little. You forget how long it takes to get to the airport and get to the rental car and then drive from the airport.
Hey, if you have good company on a road trip, it can be great.
And we brought the cat, right? We have a cat that's very chill. He's a very personable cat.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for not.
People.
Let's not skip over the cat.
Yeah, his name's Password. Dave seemed to like him a lot. Yeah.
Because everybody travels with their cat across 9-hour road trips with their cat.
He's good at driving. It's a weird thing. Whenever we get in the car, we put a little.
Don't say it like that. Is he behind the wheel?
He's good at riding. We have a little a portable kitty litter box, and we always put it in the car. And when we first got him, we were afraid he wouldn't use it in the car, that he'd feel weird about it. The second the engine starts, he goes and poops every time. Like, it's his comfort. He poops better in cars.
Fits on the floor?
In the back seat, yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah. It folds up. But the Chappelle shows, everyone was wearing masks. I should note it was, I still want to push for people to be very safe and responsible. I think keep your distance and wear the masks, Mm-hmm. It's so important.
I 100% agree. Is there...
I have the antibodies, so...
So how...
Feels like I have the Mario star, you know what I mean?
Do you feel like you should have a T-shirt or belt or something that says
so
people know that you have COVID antibodies right now?
I made a mask that says antibody positivity. People don't like it. I should sell those, huh? I should, yeah. Do I have it with me? I might have even brought it. I feel weird wearing it out because I feel like someone's going to take it the wrong way. Body shaming.
That's fantastic. So I listened back. I told you I listened back to the podcast we recorded a year ago, and one of the things you said, I want to get this right here. You said you were lazy in reference to two different things.
Uh-huh.
One was that I said you're one of the few comedians who doesn't host a podcast. And you said, it's because I'm lazy. And then I also said something. I also asked you if you were selling any merch at the shows. And you said, no, that's an extra bag to carry on the road. I'm too lazy.
I started selling merch. Yeah, I love my merch, actually. I finally made something I was excited to sell.
Okay.
It's something that stands alone. It's a T-shirt that does not need any joke to back it up. Actually, it's two. One's illegal. I won't say what it is. But
I saw it on the Zoom last night.
Yeah, it's copyright infringement, which makes it more fun to sell because it's like, oh, I can only buy this here. If I sold this online, I'd be in trouble. But the other one is, I guess I could say it's online. It's the champion logo, but it says participant instead. And I think not most people, but I think people who get it appreciate it. So it's a fun T-shirt to wear around, especially because those champion shirts are so weirdly popular. Like half the shirts I see in New York is the champion shirts. What a weird brand revival they had.
I was gonna say it's a revival is a good way to use it. I wore champion 20-some years ago.
90s.
Yeah.
Tommy Hilfiger chaps. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then I have two more designs I'm gonna do. I don't want to say them, but one I like. It's the Dare. It says Dare, and then it says underneath it in parentheses, but ironically. And I think that's the next one I'm going to start selling. I don't have a joke for it, but I think it speaks for itself.
I used to have I thought this was very cutting edge. When I was probably 18 or 19, I went to some outside rock show, and they had a merch stand, and I bought a bumper sticker. It wasn't a scratch and sniff. It was a bumper sticker that said Dare with that same logo, and then it said to think for yourself.
Ooh, what a rebel. It's funny because I think it's important, I think drugs are kind of bad, but I think they're kind of good, and I think it's silly that you're either completely against them or completely for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
If people want to hear some of, we talked the last time you were here about some experimenting you had done. So I encourage people to go back and listen to that. That was episode 325 of January of last year. It's available.
I love acid.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have you mentioned podcast. I do a podcast now, only because my girlfriend had the initiative to actually make it happen. But
she kicked you out of Lazy.
Yeah. And I was really excited about the idea when we had it, and it's been an exciting podcast to do. She started doing stand-up about a year ago. The podcast is called She Does Stand-Up Too, and we were just getting so many weird looks from people, or I was, when I told them my girlfriend, who they've all known for a couple of years, I said she's doing stand-up now, and they give me these weird looks, like I should be upset about it, or I don't know. It causes a lot of emotion in comics. I rarely get people going, cool. They're always like, oh, so what is it? Like,
I bet they're all like, oh, was she trying to be you?
I don't know. Yeah, and it's
Don't
been
you need some
really
time
cool.
away?
Like it does. There is, it's created a couple more issues of contention for us, but I feel like it's eliminated more than it's created. There are moments of like tension between any two comics, between any two friends, and I feel like they'd be there anywhere, but they're pretty minor. It's mostly we're at such different levels that there's not competition between us. It is really fun watching the early stages of comedy because you repress so many memories of all the frustrations and mistakes and just the confusion and humiliation of it, and getting to see all of that again and being able to maybe try to guide someone through it has been really fun. It's been very nostalgic, and we're trying to use it kind of as a playbook of like, I can't remember exactly what to do at the beginning of comedy or the advice I give, but to watch someone do it in real time, you can adjust their form. You know what I mean? Of like, I couldn't tell you how to swim, but if I watched you swim, I could be like, oh, here's what you should do different. You know what I mean? Like, so it's instructional for her in a way, which I hope is instructional for others who are like starting out in comedy.
So will she be out on the road with you at some point?
That's not in the plan. Guest spot. I could see her doing guest spot when she's comfortable hosting. We'll think about it, but she has a really good job, so she's not trying to get away. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Right.
She's a very good job.
Yeah. You have a joke that references
that. Yeah.
Income.
She doesn't have she's not trying to do it professionally. She just wants to be good at it, which is can be a way harder task.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of like, she's like, I just want to be good at it. I'm like that. Yeah. It all started like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Everyone was just like, oh, I'm not trying to make. I just like to be a little bit better at it, and that can lead to a whole world of hurt and joy.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see if her ambitions change. But right now she enjoys it. She's going up a bunch. She's producing her own show, like I said.
Yeah.
That sold out the first show. There's another one tonight. I think it's gonna sell. It's 2 tickets from selling out again. Limited capacity, but
Take it.
Yeah, and it's been nice because she's passed at a club. She's doing spots at one of the clubs in town, and
Wow.
the Park Show, the only club in town, and
The club?
yeah. And when we travel, it's actually really nice because it means I get to do more comedy. When we're on the road, it usually is like, hey, we're on vacation together. You're not doing spots while we're in Portugal. Now it's let's both go do spots because we both are itching to get up. So it means more stage time for me.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah, and I love doing comedy when I travel, even if it's on vacation. So
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So is there, like, what do you see for the future of that podcast?
we're going to try to do guests now. We want to talk about kind of guests from how they started in comedy, what was their early stages of open micing and getting through, or comedians in a relationship, especially comedians dating other comedians, and how that affects their relationship. Because those are the two big things we're kind of witnessing is
Sure.
the dynamics and just getting started.
Then go find the ones that have ended their relationships and get there, right?
Seton and Rosebud, let's get them on together.
So I want to say before we run out of time here, I've listened to a couple episodes.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. And one of them, actually, I was listening to one as I was falling asleep the other night, then woke up 2 or 3 hours later and a different episode was playing where you had a guest.
Yeah, John Marco. Yeah.
And it totally threw me off. I was like, what is this the same? Who's what?
Yeah.
Like, now there's another voice. Anyway, I finished listening to that episode. And that guest, say his name again?
John Marco.
And he's in a movie with you.
Yes. Yeah. I was texting him as this podcast started.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were in a movie together called Here Today that filmed in November
Of 2019?
of 2019, and it's, I believe, being edited in. I'm not sure what the distribution will be, but it stars Billy Crystal and Tiffany Haddish as well as Penn Badgley, and it was really fun. It's about comedy. It's about comedy writing. It's a funny film. It's a drama as well. I got to be in 5 scenes. I played Colin Jost, basically. It was an SNL type show, and I played the news anchor / performer.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, that might be in theaters or it might go to streaming, but either way, it's one of the coolest things I've got to be a part of, and I'm really excited for it to come out.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just saw that today. I just saw the announcement that some movie theaters are going to open back up in the next week or so.
Really? In what states?
Well, here?
Here?
For sure, yeah. And then I saw the list of the movies, and it was Back to the Future was one of them.
Oh, that's clever. Yeah.
But it was all second. It looked, there might have been some first ones. It's hard for me to keep up with what movies are current these days. But it looked like it was happening soon, and they had all of their, all the guidelines. They're taking temperature and the masks and the seats separated and all that. So sounds like that's coming back somewhat.
Yay. I'd like for things to come back, but I'd also like for things to be safe. And we're going to look back on this time with a lot more knowledge than we have now.
Or in some cases, people fake knowledge.
Yes. God, we're in the disinformation age. What a strange time.
Oh, in my back pocket here, I have my wife has a job where she sits at behind a computer all day.
Mm-hmm.
And she talks and does business with people that she has never met in person. And yesterday, one of these guys, a trucker that she has to deal with, was like, oh, hey, did you vote yesterday in the primaries? And she said, no, I didn't. And that led, oh boy, to a fucking speech from this guy about why she should be voting red and all. I have it in my back pocket here. It's wild. This podcast isn't the place for it. I will show you. And if people want to message, people are listening to this and are really interested, I'll be happy to share it with you. So DM me. I'll be happy to share it with you. I'll take the names out, but I'm not going to do it here. This isn't the place necessarily, but wild. And let me just say that one of the things, it's hard to, would you take someone's argument if they disagreed with you? But, you can have an open mind with stuff, right? It's always good to hear people out. I'm not always right about everything. You can learn, certainly. But if someone's argument in print is filled with spelling mistakes that are not maybe we're just typing fast. Here's the perfect example. This is in the first sentence of that this guy wrote to my wife. He uses the word slaughter, like slaughterhouse, for example. How do you spell slaughter, Matthew?
Oh, please
Broussard?
tell me he spelled it Slotter.
He sure did.
Oh boy!
I told her.
If you were doing that on purpose, that would be kind of brilliant.
I said, you should write back and ask him, is that someone that slots for a
Yeah.
living? What is a slaughter?
Yeah, the marks at the casino, basically. Yeah.
What the fuck's a slaughter?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you nailed it. So it's hard. Would you take somebody's arguments here? Would you hear them out when they have...
I used to be a big fan of grammar. I'm sure I make mistakes plenty of myself, but it is just a tool of feeling superiority. Correcting someone's grammar is not that's not a virtuous act, in my opinion.
No,
but
it's not.
know your shit. Like, just be. If you can't get little details correct, why should I agree with a bigger argument? Like, if someone, like, for me, it's numbers. If you pull out a stat that's inaccurate, or pull out a stat that shows you don't understand the math of it very well, I dismiss you as a person. It's not a good trait I have. But if you are conflating details and doing genuinely poor math and not understanding why, that's where I get like, no, your opinions don't matter.
Yeah.
No, I can't listen to you. You're an entirely emotional being, and your factual arguments hold no weight. Like,
So for the record, she has not replied to him yet. She is asking me to help her, and I'm like, maybe you just let it go.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not worth it. You didn't start this. Do you really want to get into it? So.
I try to remind myself that we all agree, we for the most part agree on what we want. We just disagree on how to get there. But there's a small portion of us who has lots of money and power invested in us never getting along. It's, you want the drama, you want the partisanship, you want the team rivalry.
Yeah.
That's what people who work in press and entertainment, they want as much division as possible, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you start to not see other people as humans, which is where all evil comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now let's end this podcast immediately on that podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Is there anything else that you'd be mentioning? So we don't know when this movie's coming out.
Don't know when this movie's coming out.
But we do know that you'll be headlining here at Acme for the rest of the week, and you can watch in person.
You can come here, or if you don't want to, watch on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Be safe. Whatever you're comfortable with. I'm not doing Monday Punday right now. I'm taking maybe an indefinite break. It's still online, so you could definitely, if you've never seen it, go check it out.
That was one of the other things. Is you said to me a year ago. You said, I don't know how much longer this is going.
Yeah.
Maybe a year. It's kind of run its course. So it's
I wasn't
on
loving
hiatus.
it anymore. I wasn't very. I could put stuff out, but I wasn't proud of it.
Sure.
And it was a weird thing to get into because it was always a finite set. There's only so many puns that can be made before you start cannibalizing, and or just dropping in quality. You can't make not everything can be a pun. So, hold that quality of a good puzzle.
Here's the last thing that we should mention people to check out of yours. Your sculpture.
That's what I was going to plug.
It has, you have its own Instagram account now.
Yeah, Cock Block Gargoyles. That's been my love. I have two. I lost my photo booth, but I have two more I want to put up, and that's just for fun and for me, and I've been trying to be, since quarantine started, I've been trying to, sorry for how cheesy this sounds, figure out who I am when I'm not a comedian, because I haven't been able to perform or really create much. So what am I? What do I do? What do I like? And the answer is math and sculpture and sci-fi. So those have been my things. I've been learning some math and sculpting a lot and reading. I'm really bad at reading, so I listen to the audiobook while reading the book, because that's the only way I can actually comprehend any of it. But it works.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. Is there a chime that lets you know when to turn the page, like those ones when I was a kid?
That's funny.
You'll know it's time to turn the page when you hear the chimes ring like this.
I feel so dumb doing it. Like just sitting there, just like a sensory deprivation tank. The hardcover is just my subtitles. I should make a joke about it, but. Man, it's a weird time right now. You flew yesterday, and I'm used to being in my apartment and not really going indoors in much in New York City. So wearing a mask is something I do when I go outside, or maybe go to the grocery store. But I'm mostly just outside or in my apartment. So I wore my mask. I put on my mask when I left my apartment, went downstairs, caught an Uber, went to the airport, 2 flights. I actually had to take a connecting. My flight got screwed up on the second leg yesterday. So the second leg was delayed out of Midway, and I had to take an Uber to O'Hare and buy another flight to make the show. And then I get to the show, or I get to the club, and I get out of the Uber, and I realize I've been wearing my mask for 9 hours, basically. And I realized that right now, even non-smokers can just go outside to breathe. Like, I want to take a smoking break just for
mask,
something other than my own breath.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. I feel like I feel more appreciative of a lot of things during this horrible time.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I think I do too. Too. And for this podcast, for one, because it was gone for like 2 months or so when quarantine started. So having it back.
Did you ever consider a Zoom online version?
Yeah, but
it's just a lot better in person, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all this stuff over Zoom.
Yeah.
Those Zoom shows aren't that bad. I've been doing some Zoom shows, and if you have a couple big laughers mic'd,
I've been saying on here better than I thought they were going to be.
Way better.
Watching them better
especially when it had been like 2 or 3 months since I had done comedy. I'm like, this is a synthetic. You know what I mean? It's like K-cup coffee, being like, if I haven't had coffee, it's good enough. You know?
Yeah.
If there's a shop down the street, obviously I'll prefer the shop down the street. But if this is what we got, I'm okay with it.
I love it. All right, we got to wrap it up. Matthew, people come see you this weekend here.
Yes, thank you. Come out to Acme.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right. Otherwise, you're going to be